Miyamoto Musashi fought 60 duels and lost 0. At 13 years old, he beat a grown swordsman with nothing but total command over himself. The bad habit running your life right now has never faced discipline built like that. Most men attack a bad habit the wrong way. They swear off the habit in general. Stop scrolling at night. Stop eating garbage. Stop wasting the day. Vague words, vague war. And vague war is always lost before it starts, because you can't defeat something you've never actually located. Motivation fails for a simple reason. It only shows up when you're already strong, and the habit only shows up when you're already weak. That's not a coincidence. That's the design. The habit has been studying your weak hours for years, while you've been studying nothing. Musashi didn't study an enemy in general. He studied the exact man in front of him, his stance, his footwork, the half second before he committed to a cut. Then he attacked that exact half second. Not the man, the moment. That's the entire difference between a strategist and a man swinging his sword and hoping. Rule 1. Find the exact moment your habit begins, not when you're already 3 cigarettes in, not when the 4th episode is already playing, the second before, the trigger, the hour, the mood, the room you're standing in when the war is already lost. Track it for 3 days, nothing else. No fixing, no fighting it, just watching. Write down the time, what you were doing right before, what you were feeling in your chest. By day 3, you'll see a pattern you've been blind to for years, because the habit was never random. It was scheduled. That pattern is the battlefield. Fight there, not everywhere else. I knew a guy named James who used to tell himself he'd quit drinking when things calmed down. Things never calmed down because the drink was the thing keeping them loud. Every night at 11, he'd stand in his kitchen and pour the same glass in the same spot under the same light. He never noticed the spot until he wrote it down for 3 nights straight. The 4th night, he unscrewed the bulb above that counter and stood in the dark instead. No light, no ritual, no glass. 6 months later, he still calls that broken bulb the first thing he ever killed on purpose. Rule 2. Kill the terrain before the fight starts. Musashi picked his position before the enemy arrived. Sun at his back, exit behind him, high ground under his feet. He built the win into the room before a single sword was drawn. Your habit does the same thing to you right now, except it's the one choosing the terrain, and you've been letting it. Phone by the bed, snacks in the cabinet, the app still installed on your home screen where your thumb finds it before your brain even wakes up. If the fight only happens because the weapon is in reach, remove the weapon. This isn't willpower, and it never was. This is one decision made once that keeps winning long after you've forgotten you made it. That's the entire point. A dead man can't be tempted by a bottle that isn't in the house. Rule 3. Cut what serves no purpose. Musashi wrote something every man chasing discipline should carve into his skull. In his own list of principles for the warrior, one line says simply, do nothing which is of no use. Not resist temptation, not try harder. Cut what serves no purpose. That's it. That's the whole rule. Every hour you spend feeding a habit that gives you nothing back is an hour spent doing something of no use. And Musashi would call that a wasted stance, a warrior standing guard over an empty field. Drop a comment right now with the exact moment your habit hits you, just the trigger. No excuses, no backstory, one line. Writing it in public makes it real in a way your own head never will. Historical proof this works. Before facing Sasaki Kojiro, the most feared swordsman in Japan, Musashi showed up late on purpose and carved a wooden sword out of an oar on the boat ride over, unsettling Kojiro's rhythm before the fight even began. He beat a master with preparation, not aggression. The terrain was already his before the first move was made. Rule 4. Wear the identity, not the resistance. Musashi didn't tell himself to fight like a warrior. He built his everyday stance to be his combat stance. Head straight, spine locked, weight balanced, at all times, in the street, at the table, everywhere he stood. No separation between who he was in a duel and who he was doing nothing. If you're still telling yourself, I'm trying to quit, you've already lost the frame. Trying implies a version of you that still might not. You're not trying to quit. You're someone who doesn't do the thing. Say it that way every single time until your nervous system stops arguing with the sentence. Rule 5. When it collapses, finish it. Musashi built an entire fighting principle around knowing collapse. When an enemy's rhythm breaks, you don't ease off. You don't give him a second to recover his footing. You press until there's nothing left standing. Apply that to your own relapse. The moment you catch yourself slipping back into the habit, most men freeze and let the guilt take over for the rest of the day, sometimes the rest of the week. And that week is where the real damage happens, not the slip. The week after it, that's letting the enemy recover. Instead, decide right now, before it happens, what you'll do in the next 10 minutes after a slip. Not tomorrow morning, the next 10 minutes. Get up, do the opposite action immediately, and don't let one collapse turn into a retreat. Write that 10-minute plan down before you need it, because the version of you who needs it will not be the version of you thinking clearly. David Goggins ran 100 miles on stress fractures because he refused to let one bad night define the whole war. He didn't get lucky. He built a system so brutal that giving up cost more than continuing ever could. Rule 6. Train in the storm, not the calm. Musashi trained morning and night without exception, in every condition, because he knew the real duel wouldn't wait for good weather to arrive. Most men only practice discipline when life is easy, when they're rested and fed and nobody's tested them yet. Then the first hard day comes and the whole system breaks like glass, because it was never built for pressure in the first place. Practice resisting your habit specifically on your worst days. Tired, stressed, bored out of your mind, humiliated, whatever version of hard hits you hardest. That's where the real fight lives, and if you've never trained there, you will lose there every single time. Whiplash isn't a movie about talent. It's a movie about a drummer who trained until his hands bled because he understood that pain absorbed in practice was the only thing that made pain in performance survivable. Same law, different weapon. Nobody claps for the ugly hours. They only clap for what the ugly hours built. Rule 7. Measure the process, not the streak. Musashi never counted his victories one by one. He measured the sharpness of his training, and the wins followed on their own as a natural consequence, not a goal he was chasing directly. Most men count days sober, days clean, days without the habit, and the second that number breaks, they feel like they're back to zero. Like every hour before it meant nothing. They're not back to zero. Count the actions instead. How many times you spotted the trigger? How many times you executed the reset? How many times you removed the weapon before you even needed to? Those numbers never reset to zero, even after a bad night, and that's exactly why they work when nothing else does. There's a line in the water book that hits harder than any modern quote about discipline. Musashi wrote, "Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Not victory over the habit, victory over the version of you that lost yesterday." That's the entire war, reduced to one sentence, and it's the only scoreboard that actually matters. If you've read Vagabond, you already know Musashi wasn't born a weapon. He was built one, page by page, cut by cut, failure by failure, through years. Nobody was watching. Your bad habit isn't stronger than a man who turned himself into a legend through nothing but repetition and terrain control. It's just been fighting an opponent who never studied the battlefield before now. 7 rules. Find the trigger, kill the terrain, cut what's useless, wear the identity instead of renting it, finish the collapse instead of nursing it, train on your worst days, not your best ones, measure the process, and let the streak take care of itself. None of these require you to feel motivated tomorrow morning, and that's exactly why they'll still be standing when motivation isn't. This channel exists outside the algorithm on purpose, because content this direct gets buried the second it starts actually working. If you want the deeper breakdowns, the ones YouTube won't let surface, the Patreon is where they live. 7 rules, 1 war. Go fight it on your terms this time. I'll see you soon.